Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the cast right here at Celestia Radio. We've got news for you, but first, I am Matthias, and I am joined as ever by my wonderful co-hosts, Dalit and Nat. How we doing, boys?
G'day everyone. I'm going. What about you, Dolit? How are you?
Yeah, that checks out. Going is about correct.
Yeah.
Going fucking insane.
I'm going straight off the cliff.
I mean, I'm doing pretty good. I don't know about these guys. Anyway. But we got news for you. Or, well, it's old news by the time you read this, but it's current for us, and we have to talk about it because how can we not? It is driving most of us it's driving all of us up a wall, really, because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But as we talked about before, there was some leaks and some stuff, and it finally got confirmed right about when they said it would be confirmed during those leaks. So I guess those leaks were pretty accurate. They announced the PS5 Pro. You
mean the piss poor 5 Pro, the No Games 5 Pro, the fucking No Games Slot Station 5 Pro. Yeah.
You spend a lot of time thinking of those, huh?
Brain does not work. Me talk.
So yeah, we got our mid-gen update, I guess is what this would be called, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So it they had a big it was a stream, right? They did a big stream announcing it, or was it a video?
Was it a stream or was it just a video?
It might have been a video. I caught it late, so I watched a video, but I assume they did stream it live as a direct or whatever the PlayStation Directs are.
That's
Sony
probably what
live.
Sony Presents, something like that. But there is a video. It's still up. You can go catch it and get all the specifics.
Yeah, you can go and you can learn about the 3 big things coming with the PS5 Pro, and we're not talking about the 3 stripes on the side from the one.
Yeah, they ruined the fucking Kyber code from Yu-Gi-Oh with the 3 stripes. I don't know why they decided to do that.
I was
what
never
are you talking
sold.
about? Now they just made the code, that one part, just a little bit thicker.
I was never sold on the new look to begin with. I like the black box that it was before. I still think my favorite one is the PS1, but you know what? The PS2 was pretty sleek too.
I liked the PS2 a lot. But the 3 big things that they're introducing to the PS5 Pro. I mean, yeah, exactly. The big 3 things coming with the PS5 Pro is a larger GPU, supposedly, advanced ray tracing, and AI-driven upscaling.
I mean, to be fair,
that means nothing to me. I'm not gonna lie.
To be fair, this is true. This is the core conceit around I almost said the PS7, the PS5 Pro is these three aspects, and we'll get into the details of the 5 itself soon. But if this is where we want to take off from, yeah, we can talk about this. I certainly have opinions about this.
I mean, we can. I wasn't saying start there. I was just like, that was their big headline takeaway. 3 big upgrade thing.
Yeah, that is kind of how they set it up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What where do you want to start, Dalit? I mean, feel free.
No, I think this is a pretty solid starting point. After all, they did make a very big point of saying this is the big 3. It was Cerny's words. This is how they're justifying this product. However, I would like to start at the more obvious thing. I would like to get this out of the way immediately.
The pricing.
Yeah, the PS5 Pro is going to cost $700 American. I'm very specific about this because it's $700 American. It's like 1,000 some odd yen. It's going to be like 900 Australian.
Nope.
Oh, is it 1,000 Australian?
It's 1,000 Australian, and
nope.
It's like 1,200 Australian, actually, isn't it?
Yep.
Well,
yeah. It is 1,200 base. That is not the
So
additional stuff.
Oh, that means it's like 900 Canadian. Oh, ew. I'm so sorry.
Yep.
Folks not living in Britain or America.
1,199.95 Australian dollars. That's just the console. That's not counting the mount, the disc drive sold separately, and other such things like tax.
The stand.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you want a I forgot what's called, but it's like the PS5 DualShock Edge customizable controller.
Well, let's not even get into that. Let's sort of.
But no, I'm just saying, like on top of that as well.
No, for sure.
Want, like the top of the line stuff with the new PS5 Pro and all that shit.
I mean, pricing starting at $700 for like just the entry level stuff is crazy. It's like it's probably not what you're going to end up paying by the end. So, and I am going to be strictly working with like American, the United States dollar here, but isn't the vertical mount like $40? The disc drive is
USD?
like
something like 30, 40.
Yeah, the disc drive is going to be like 100-ish.
Yep.
We know that all peripherals cost as much as a video game, so it's going to be $60, $70. And the video games that cost $60, $70. And of course, on top of all this, your local tax, which will vary. So, even in America, you're probably looking at about $900 for this all said and done.
You know, one of the killer things I take away, especially with this price tag, is it definitely Sony, which, you know, was for the longest time considered a Japanese company. I mean, it is a Japanese company, but it was a Japanese competitor in is how they looked at it. What I'm trying to say is their main audience isn't set for Japanese anymore with this, because
oh god, no, ever since they moved to California, Japan's just not been a thing on their minds ever since.
Well, first of all, that's absolutely not true, but
this is clearly not directed towards the Japanese audience, because, to be fair, the majority of the Japanese audience is an on-the-go gaming kind of thing now.
I see people keep saying this. I'm not even sure that's true either.
I also don't think that's the case anymore. If you said that 10 years ago, that was the case, but I think from what I've heard, the Japanese have started to like home game more nowadays than on the go.
But it's not even that. For me, it's a case of
picking up PCs more.
Yeah, it's like they're doing both. They are in fact doing both. Mobile in the traditional sense, not telephones. On-the-go gaming will always have an immense footprint in Japan, specifically because they have a culture around movement. But it's weird to me that anyone would think that there like suddenly would be less of a push by the traditional companies that have never been mobile focused to suddenly like let them go. No, Japan is still like, at the end of the day, Sony's a Japanese company. They will be thinking about Japan, however, they are a company, and so they have to think of money first. And Japan will never again be where they get the lion's share of their income, because Japan just doesn't have the population. I spoke about this with someone else. I don't think it was on a podcast, which is kind of a shame now because it's such a good topic. But the two places worth considering
is America.
Yeah, strictly NA, because if you go to America, you probably also want to grab Canada, and China. And China's a bit difficult because of China. Japan probably doesn't even get to be third place. That's probably the overarching EU, counting the UK, which I know is not EU anymore, but it gets lumped in with Europe, so that's the way it is.
It's a European country.
That's what it is, right?
The pals.
And then even after that, like if India has a presence, it's probably going to outnumber Japan. Russia's going to outnumber Japan, even though they have that weird fucking Russia station they want to build. That's probably not going to happen. So yeah, like Japan literally...
What?
Yeah, Russia, like Putin has something that he wants to make a PlayStation for Russia. Don't worry about it. It's never going to happen.
Oh, okay. That's the first I'm hearing it. All right.
Trust me, you'll never hear about it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not that Japan doesn't have like a grass, like being home turf for Sony. They'll always have some kind of pull, but monetarily speaking, you can't cater to yourselves exclusively once you've gone international. Like when you were just exporting stuff, that was fine. But now that you're planning on this worldwide stage, you can never go back to catering to just the home fans. Otherwise, now you will never see the money that you were making in the past few years again. And that's just not how companies work. It's just not how companies work.
Yeah. But I mean, that aside, it's with this price tag, they're clearly not aiming for their any of their audience, because who's gonna buy it for $700?
Well, obviously, all the millionaires and billionaires that are fucking gamers.
I mean, look, so there is that, right? But yet, it's understood. I think it's understood that the entire world is going through a recession right now. I don't think I don't know how many people are phrasing it that way, but yeah, like it's hard to buy things right now wherever you are. Prices are just absolutely on the rise, and it's crazy. So
groceries, housing, clothes, it's all just fucked right now.
Yeah, currently needs are crazy high. Wants being crazy high, I mean wants don't get picked up. And the PS5 is the most want thing.
PS5 Pro is the most want things, definitely, because it's like, I mean, if the PS5 was the most want thing, you'd pick up a regular PS5 or PS5 Slim.
I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, PS5 Pro, correct. I don't see. This was just a horrendous time to do this, and it was never going to be a good time. Obviously, inflation being what it is, but I don't know. I if I had to guess, I think Nat. I don't know how sarcastic you were being. I know that there was obviously a lot of truth in what you were saying, Nat, but you kind of have the right of it. The only people that are going to pick this up are enthusiast class gamers playing with enthusiast class money. Like this is not not something that your typical normie like us are going to trade in our PS5 for. Pray to God we get more than $100, then pay the discrepancy, because I was saying this with other people. Best case scenario, and this is like I am giving so much grace here because you are never going to get this deal. I gave my PS5 to GameStop and they give me $300. They're not. They're going to give me like 75, but let's say they give me 300.
Bruh, give me $50 right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? But let's just say,
let's just say a half-eaten sandwich.
PS5 Pro's out now, man. I can't even do the 50. 25, and this really nice gift card that actually doesn't have anything on it. It just looks nice.
Also, of course, naturally $5 store credit.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just say that they're feeling generous and they say like, yeah, 300, sure, whatever. And you turn around and you now still have to spend almost a full 400 on a console again. This is not going to get picked up by the wider audience. And consoles are sold at a loss. That's not where they make their money. They recoup their money in games and subscriptions.
In games, yeah.
So
subscriptions, maybe not accessories, but
maybe I don't know.
Subscription.
Maybe accessories nowadays. Back when accessories used to be a more reasonable price, I guess they were also sold at a loss. But I don't know. Fact of the matter is, I don't know how they recouped their money on this one. This feels like a lot of money spent to not make back.
So it's weird. I can see, like, usually if you're going to do your mid-gen upgrade, you bring down the price of your original one, but they as far as I know, I haven't seen the PS5 drop in price any significant amount or anything.
Oh, did you not know? The PS5 has gone up in price in certain areas.
What the fuck?
Yeah, outside of America and the EU, I believe. Sorry, again, America and Europe. I believe it's gone up in price.
Oh,
What, like stores and not like eBay scalpels?
No,
shit?
like Sony. Sony is selling this for more
What?
money.
oh,
Oh,
interesting.
ew.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Because usually when the mid-gen thing comes out, the original one usually sees like a $50, just a small drop or
$100
something. Yeah,
dependent.
just a little
Yeah.
bit of a drop. Something to maybe incentivize picking it up instead of picking up the shinier new things, 'cause it's a little bit cheaper now.
Right.
Yeah, it will never be like 50% off if it was like at Christmas sale, that sort of thing. No, it's usually,
And
as
then
Matt says, 50 to 100.
and then you sell the new shinier thing for the same price as what the original was,
Original.
or
Mhm.
within a range of about $100 max.
I'd say
More
so.
than that original. Yeah, this is a $200 increase over the 5's original launch price.
I wish it was just $200 increase.
Again, me and Matt
pretty
are
sure
going to be
this is just-
exclusively speaking in the USD
I
because
know,
moving this
I know,
over is
and-
crazy to other denominations of money.
It's oh my god!
A lot of
like
people,
actually just
a lot of
double the
people know
pricing.
that conversion rate naturally. Thankfully, I think most people know the American to their own currency. I think because that's what most things are listed online at, so they have to know how to convert it.
Yeah, you kind of have to know how to convert to the United States dollar and I want to say to the pound sterling for international reasons.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, look, the price is a big part of why I am confused by this product's existence. I don't know
Well,
how.
not like clearly, it's because it has a wealth of amazing new tech and features, right?
Okay, so because of the way you said that, technically you are absolutely correct.
Am I?
Yeah. No, like genuinely, you are.
Because I'm looking at
absolutely
this side
correct.
by side, dude, and it doesn't look like
So,
that much.
yeah.
of it.
Here's the thing. Let's go back to where we began before. There is a big three around this, and one of the big three is a larger GPU, and that larger GPU can output more. It's just better at its job. It has more horsepower, let's say.
Yep.
Now,
They haven't said what the GPU is, though, right? Like,
I
I'm not
don't.
missing that.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm pretty sure they have.
So I think Cerny brought it up during the video, but that video was about a week ago, and you'll forgive me for not remembering the specific ones. It's still, it's probably just a better version of what was in there before. That being in a custom RDNA 2 of some kind. This will be a custom RDA, probably RDA 2, it's just bigger. The idea is this one can just output more power, right? You can get more from it. Small problem with this, though. Something that was not covered at all in the video was that the CPU hasn't changed. So maybe it has, maybe they just chose not to say anything about it, which would be weird. But I feel like this bigger, badder GPU is going to be hamstrung by the old architecture on the CPU. But no, to Sony's credit, the GPU is bigger and it is better. We do know that they'll have probably refined the RAM they're using. I imagine it's probably still the DDR6s, but they're probably just slightly tweaked to be faster, which makes sense because they are on Zen architecture. So the better your RAM, the better performance you can get from your CPU. Sorry, nerd shit real quick. But yeah, that's in terms of hardware inside, that's the big change, is the GPU. However, it also brings with it the ability to use this new advanced ray tracing, which I don't want to stay on for too long. I think we all know what ray tracing is by now. And saying advanced ray tracing should be a big old nothing burger to all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what isn't a nothing burger is the upscaling they're using.
So explain this one to me, because I don't quite get
let's
what it is.
let's not get into the details. I'm going to keep this super surface level. They are using, I believe it is unique. I think it's boutique. I think it's something that they make for themselves. They're just putting pixels in between other pixels to make a higher resolution picture, and they're using AI to do it so that, you know, it actually looks decent. And this is how you use AI. This is actually really big. So a core conceit about the PS5, about any upgrade to a system, especially in recent years, is resolution. You have people wanting to play in 1440, you have people wanting to play in 4K. Everyone kind of wants to get away from 1080p because it feels kind of old now. However, playing at these native resolutions is so fucking intensive. It's why all the graphics cards you see nowadays are the size of a baseball bat.
Yeah.
So it is kind of impressive that this tiny little integrated GPU can do any of this at all, but having AI help with that will make it much faster. Now, the reason why this AI upscaling is kind of neat, and I know, let's get this out of the way. Everyone wanted native 4K. You're not getting a native 4K. It's all going to be upscaled. The reason why this is good, however, is I'm sure we're all familiar with DLSS at this point, and I guess also FSR, but FSR sucks. That's what this is, essentially. Consider this as Sony DLSS. And one of the big bonuses to having DLSS on a game is that you can get an upscaled image without losing FPS. Matter of fact, DLSS often allows you to gain frames. So if the core conceit of the PS5 is 4K at 60, or let's not say 4K because I don't know what their plans are, but fidelity mode at 60, this is really big. Like, I don't give a shit about ray tracing. I never have. If you make the lighting in your game good enough to begin with, I'm never going to notice a difference if you have like super advanced ray tracing that like has light wrap around a pole.
I probably would never notice it whatsoever, period.
Exactly. Like, ray tracing is for a class of snob that I am not there. The upscaling thing,
not there yet.
Let's hope I never am. I'm broke. The upscaling thing, however, I do understand, because I run a 1440 setup. Like I said, I'm not terribly. I'm kind of broke, but I can run a 1440 setup between my monitor and my card. My card allows for 4K. I don't get the money for a 4K monitor right now, but there was a time where I couldn't really see the difference in resolutions. I didn't get what the big deal was. I now see it. I see the difference between 1080 and literally anything above it. I do struggle a little bit at 1440 to 4K, but it certainly is there. The sharpness is there. So I do understand these last two generations really struggling with the concept of, do we do performance or do we do fidelity? And like I said,
all the way.
Well, yes, correct. And like I said before, that's the whole conceit here, at least according to Cerny. This big conversation he's had with multiple developers, where apparently the big argument point is 60 frames per second. He didn't phrase it that way, but that's what it is at the end of the day. Is, do you run it at 1080 60, or do you run it at 1440 4K 30? Or at least with an irregular...
Fucking no.
Exactly, with an irregular frame rate. And whilst you may not see resolution, you might not actually notice it get like a little cloudy off to the edge, and it may be less sharp. You may not notice that because you just don't care. You probably will actually notice frame rate, because frame rate is something you can see and you can feel. So I get this. What the larger GPU and the upscaling will do is allow us to have that high frame rate, high resolution gaming, which is cool. I don't know that it's $700 fucking cool.
Yeah,
but
that's the caveat it comes back to, right?
This is what it all is. Like, yes, the PS5 Pro, you joked, it has all this stuff in it to make it worth its price. It does have all this stuff in it. I don't know about the price though.
So, to backtrack just a tad, the regular PS5's GPU was equated to an AMD Radeon RX 6700. That's the
That's
rough.
probably what I was thinking of.
That's
what I was thinking of. Yeah.
that's roughly the equivalent of what the base PS5 has in it. Sony claimed the new one is going to have a 67% more compute units. So doing that math, the estimated equivalent is going to be something like the AMD Radeon RX 6800. So
Not sure that I believe any of those things, but the fact that it's not a very big increase makes sense.
Yeah, that is I mean, take that with a grain of salt, but I mean, for those who know their computer spec pieces and all that tech, that will mean a bit more for you as a comparison as well.
Sure, yeah. Like I was using all the internal stuff. This makes sense. Now,
yeah.
The AMD stuff. Well, AMD isn't a. Despite being the second choice in the GPU category, I wonder how familiar people actually are with the various series of cards.
That you make a good point. But using those names, you can also,
compare them directly to the NVIDIA stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Do a quick Google search to get a little bit more of the information you want on them, but it's not a huge jump there. It seems, and that's kind of the way I'm reading it here. But
sure.
Then taking into the fact the CPU is potentially not changing.
It better be. Look, I better be wrong about this. If you're rocking that same CPU, you're just bottlenecking your GPU at this point.
Did they say anything about the RAM?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Just not to my knowledge. I mean, maybe again, I'm not infallible. I could have missed Cerny's talking about it. He was saying a lot of things. I didn't hear fuck all about CPU, about RAM, about storage.
Just literally the graphics, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. What about actual games and actual gameplay?
Quick read from an article IGN posted about it. Memory does see an uplift. The PS5 launched with a 16 gigabyte of GDDR6 memory as unified system RAM. The Pro has the same capacity, but the speeds are increased, likely due to a better memory interface on the new GPU.
Yeah, this is what I was saying.
Sony claims that the memory is about 28% faster. And the person who wrote this said, my semi-reliable pencil math shows that this will equal about 560 gigabytes of memory bandwidth, up from 440 on the old PS5. And that's from somebody at IGN. I'll get you the name in just a second.
No worries.
Just from Jackie Thomas in IGN.
So when they're talking about that, though, I assume they're actually talking about VRAM and not the actual RAM that interfaces with your CPU.
Yeah.
So I think the DDR6 that was in the base PS5 is still what's being used in the PS5 Pro. I mean, I do think that they're probably using better stakes at a higher speed, because that you will get more from an AMD chipset. But I
mean, outside of those, what else? I mean, looking at the side by side that you shared earlier, Dalit, it looks like the base storage on this is 2 terabytes,
which by the way, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
Now
we're the only thing I could.
Now we're finally working at a reasonable storage rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially considering the size of a lot of games out there, and because if I'm not mistaken, Sony's the current Call of Duty bigwig partner in Call of Duty, and the Call of Duty games have been massive the last few ones.
Hasn't Call of Duty hit 300 gigs now on my fucking crazy.
No,
Am I just skipping
So
out?
you're
You're
both
correct.
right. You're both right.
Jesus
Sony is still the
Christ.
place to do all of this. However, the real reason why this is necessary is, again, baseline. The PS5 Pro has no disk drive. It has to have this kind of storage.
True.
Yes.
Very
Like you
true.
couldn't sell what was it, like 250 gigabytes of storage in a machine with no
Yeah, back
means
on
for
the
physical.
Xbox 360 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's not there, like, because the games are so big. Like you could have a game on. Matter of fact, you couldn't have some games on.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did have to upgrade. I'm happy they didn't just go with 500 or 1 terabyte. 200 or 200. 2 terabytes is a
Holy.
very, very good place to be.
Imagine if they did just give you like 1 terabyte of just
You could do
space.
it.
Like, god damn.
You could do
You
it, but the
could,
balancing
but
would be so obnoxious because you would have to be taking games off and putting them on so frequently.
I
yeah.
already have to do that with my 5. I'm
I have
used
to
it at
look.
this point.
I have 2 terabytes. I have to do that on my PC because, I mean,
I have to do it on my PC too. Now that
Yeah.
you say that,
I love Baldur's Gate to death, but it's so fucking big.
It is. I need to finish it, Nat.
Hey, bro, you people, I swear to God, please just let me finish Persona 5 first, because I don't want to stop and then start all over again, because I'm that kind of person. Let me finish it, and then I'll be free, okay? And then we can start talking about collabs and shit.
Fair.
And that's including all the fucking listeners out there as well. I don't know if any of my VTuber friends listen to this, but fucking yeah, just let me finish Persona 5 first. Please.
This man made a decision. He regrets it.
Oh, I don't remember Persona 5 being that fucking long, but god
I've been
damn.
telling you guys for years. I just don't finish these games.
So they also used a newer Wi-Fi card. It's just the next version of the one they used, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it's just the next one up. It'll be better, but I mean, Wi-Fi at the end of the day is Wi-Fi and subject to all the failings thereof, all the strengths as well. But
I remember hearing some. I think it was the PS5. Some people complaining about the Wi-Fi card in it, like its default Wi-Fi card. Maybe that was something else, but
So
hopefully the
OG
upgrade's a good thing.
PS5 has Wi-Fi 6, whatever that means, and then PS4 is supposed to have the Wi-Fi 7. Which is,
problem is I don't know what any of this means.
Same.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, it's clearly going to be better. I don't know by how much. I don't know if it's going to be like sufficiently more stable. I know you still aren't going to want to do like peer-to-peer online stuff. Like, I don't want you playing fighting games on Wi-Fi, people. But in terms of other games with, like, I don't know, that are less online required, it's probably fine. I'll be honest, like, I did a bunch of stuff on the PS5's Wi-Fi. I never had an issue with it like dropping connection or anything. Like, my downloads were pretty good too. So
here's the thing, though, right? So outside of just like downloading things and just on proper like multiplayer online connectivity, single player games require you to be online nowadays.
Yep.
At least for Sony games, which is fucking weird. So the reason why they have to upgrade this Wi-Fi component is it's understandable, because, as I said, there are some games, some single player games, that requires you to be online for some fucking reason.
Sure.
So,
I mean, look, I'm not even
and
really complaining. Or sorry, I'm not even really denying the fact that they had to upgrade this. I'm just putting out there that if they really didn't want to do this, just finally force your player base to fucking plug in.
yeah.
But I know that everyone can't do that, and having the Wi-Fi be not just an option, but like available, you're not having to buy a different adapter, is wonderful. I do love that. So I'm happy that they aren't trying to like scalp us and take that away. So
True.
Just wait for the PlayStation 6 that would come.
Yeah,
sold
eventually, when
separately.
all of this just becomes like a baseline $500 PC that doesn't have anything
Yeah.
attached to it. Yeah, I know.
I mean, some of the original 360s, like Xbox 360s, launched without Wi-Fi capacity. You had to get a separate Wi-Fi thing.
Adapter.
Yep,
In.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
I had one. But yeah, I think
Fucking sucked.
we've kind of talked about all of the spec differences they had. Like, it's I don't know, man. It's like their three big things was the GPU, the ray tracing, and the AI driven
AI
upscaling.
upscups. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's a minute upgrade because there is some upgrades, but I feel like it's just not $200 extra worth of upgrades. You know, is
Yeah.
that just me?
And I'm with you.
Yeah, there's no reason for it to be like this. Again, we talked about this way back on the mid-generation upgrade cast. Like, specifically Sony didn't sell a whole lot of PS5s to begin with. PS5 came out during this huge silicon shortage, which may further be what's causing this price hike, because at this
Yeah.
point they're fighting Apple and Microsoft and Tesla and all of these other things that have to deal with the silicon for their computing for a place at the table. But moreover than that, I I know I know that Sony had a bigger install base than Microsoft, obviously. But I also know that people struggled to get this system, and after a point, I wonder how many people were still rushing to pick it up. So I don't know if they're even selling this as a mid-generation upgrade. This might just be them trying to sell the PS5 again.
Could be. That's fair.
Oh,
Um,
because it wasn't just the silicon shortage, but it was also during pandemic, wasn't it? So
Right.
it's just like
Yeah, so like it was really
Yeah.
doubled
yeah.
down.
So
But to be fair,
Yeah.
I wouldn't use the pandemic as that in terms of point of order, because gaming went through the roof during the pandemic. There was no better time.
You are right, but
to
like the whole like just all the like rules that was like set on like shops and public spaces, you know, just kind of like
it did make
All
getting
right,
it made
so-
getting anything harder, but that's what like the pandemic is what caused the silicone shortage, which caused the issues for them. So
Right.
I don't
It's
know
two
that it
different
was
things,
the
but it's-
pandemic that caused that shortage. Actually, I think there genuinely just is a shortage in getting
Well,
silicon to disk.
I feel like that it had a huge part in it because of all of the different shipping restrictions and other processes, procedures, things that went into effect with the pandemic to
I'm
try and
sure
cut down.
I'm sure it didn't
And
help,
it
but
slowed down everything.
I don't think this slowed down. So when we talk about people not working during the pandemic, you have to remember that's not true of everyone. The world still needs to keep going. Certain people are expected to still show up for work, even if it's dangerous. Matter of fact, that was a big problem during COVID. A lot of essential workers were in fact not essential and really shouldn't have been working. But yeah, I mean, maybe
Hey,
there
man,
was a bit of a
McDonald's
slowdown.
workers had to be in person. Yeah.
I
Sorry, go on.
I mean, look, I get like I understand. I'm happy they were. I ordered out way too often during
DoorDash.
COVID. Regardless to
Uber Eats,
whether
DoorDash, yeah.
COVID or not had an impact, I am pretty confident when I say it's not the reason for the shortage. And as a matter of fact,
No.
it's why
yeah,
the shortage. It's why we still have a shortage. It's just because getting the raw material has been a problem.
Yeah, no, I don't want to like misinterpret anything. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, it's because of the pandemic, that's why everything's fucked up. No, I'm just saying the pandemic was a factor of some kind. Like, there was some effect to it.
Sure,
a certain,
maybe.
but like, yeah, like it's not.
From a bias standpoint, I didn't have an issue getting my PS5 though. Like I logged on.
Australia did so.
Well, okay, yeah. Again, like I said, huge bias, American. Furthermore, California American. It all has to go through our ports anyway.
I was about to say over here. I mean, almost everybody I knew that played games and wanted a 5 was having a hard time getting a 5. So
yeah, same here in Australia.
So I mean, I don't know, man. West Coast privileges, I'm thinking.
It could be, but at the end of the day, like ordering online and getting it was not an issue. Like if it was stocked, it was gettable, and I just think that, and furthermore, Sony having the current better first party run of games still has run into the talking point that Microsoft currently has, which is no games. Nat, you made this joke at the beginning. While strictly speaking, while strictly speaking, not true. We are into generations where the library of these consoles are not impressive. Not in terms of of what what's on offer, not in terms of the quality of what's on offer, but the quantity. And there's an argument for quality versus quantity, but there's diminishing returns on this. Like, we all three of us lived through the PS2 era, and so we will always be harshly biased at the time where we had more games than we could ever play. The amount of things that came out during that time versus fucking how many games have come out during this generation? I feel like it couldn't be more than like 50, which is not true. It is more than 50. The point is, it's much smaller.
I mean, yeah.
So we're paying a whole lot more to play less. And granted, I guess you could make the argument of way back in the day, we didn't have like forever games, quote unquote. We didn't have like live service games. We didn't have games that we were playing for billions of hours at a time. But I posit to you, I have maybe missed 1 year of playing 10. So.
Are you okay, Dolan? Like, you're not sick or anything, right?
Oh, it wasn't this year. No, mate. I was at university.
Oh, you gave me a heart attack there. I was scared. Like, I was like, wait, is this Dolan?
Yeah.
Dolan,
no, I was at university. I just happened to take 12 with me.
I just took 12 with me. Yeah, it's the libraries aren't anything to write home about. Like Nat said at the beginning, it's just usually it feels like, and I could be wrong, I'd have to actually go back and like check releases and stuff to see, but I feel like usually a mid-gen release of a console usually has some kind of overlap with a really, big game somewhere, something kind of hype.
Do you want to know what the game that was supposed to be for the PlayStation 5 Pro when it first came out?
Go on.
Concord.
No, absolutely
not. Yes, I'm. It's kind of a tinfoil hat conspiracy, but I think that was the plan. Was Concord to be the first game that works with the stuff that the PS5 Pro is giving?
Oh, well, we know that's strictly speaking not true, because they had a bunch of games from earlier in the PS5 life cycle ready for this. Like, Rebirth was seeing a major increase to its fidelity and its frames because of all the people that complained about the way it looked on launch. And there were other games, but I'm going to be honest, I was so stuck on 7 because I remember 7 looking beautiful, but I remember that being a huge talking point. But no, the 5 Pro was already set to make sweeping changes to various games that already exist. Now, maybe Concord was just going to be one of the first games that came out and just was able to fully use it as a new game, potentially. But that game was going to have to work on a PS5 base model anyway, and frankly, from what we've seen of Concord to begin with, I don't think that game was ever really going to do major pushing outside of the cutscenes, which are all pre-rendered anyway. So,
yeah, 7 also works as well. Sorry, Matt, I fucking interrupted.
No, you're good. You brought up a good point, and I don't know. It's just like I feel like there hasn't been any like PS5 game release that really helps sell the Pro. Like, they don't.
Well, like, here's the thing about that.
What's exclusive to the 5 right now?
Astrobot, and that's it.
Oh, to be fair, Astrobot has the capacity to be Game of the Year, apparently, from what we've seen.
I mean, yes, that's true. We have been seeing and hearing that, but But I mean,
literally,
that's a
Bloodborne
surprise.
and
Let's be fair.
Astrobot is your only two proper PlayStation exclusives.
No. There's plenty of PlayStation exclusives if we're gonna lump Bloodborne in there. In terms of PlayStation 5, that gets more difficult. Because now I guess I can kind of give you Bloodborne, but you'd have to use Demon Souls. So you can still use From, but you can't use Bloodborne. You have Demon Souls.
Yeah, Demon Souls still. I'm still waiting for Demon Souls to be on Steam, but yeah, go on.
Well, yeah, which I mean, like it's great, it's wonderful, but I don't think people were as mind blown about Demon Souls as they were about later things in the series. I mean, Astrobot is a very fair point out. It is brand new. It is absolutely spectacular, and because it's not pushing for photorealism, it gets to have so many things on screen. It's insane.
Yeah.
You have the director.
I do want to interject.
Graphics any day.
I do want to interject. I was somebody who was very excited about the Demon Souls remake, thing, whatever they did. But I assumed it was going to eventually make its way to PC, and it never did. And now I'm just
okay. So people understand why Bloodborne and Demon Souls aren't going anywhere. From doesn't own these two games. These are Sony.
No,
these are Sony games. These were made in cooperation with, I believe, Japan Studio. I might be wrong about that. That I'm not 100% sure of. Japan Studio, who is now who are now Asobi, correct?
Yeah.
And because From doesn't have full control, because Sony doesn't have full control, I see it unlikely as them of these two going anywhere, because then there's payouts to royalties on who does what, how much goes where. That's my assumption as a layperson. So yeah, I wouldn't expect these two particular FromSoft games to turn up on PC in any form that isn't just emulated.
Well, thank fuck for emulation, because apparently the people who are doing the Bloodborne emulation are working very fucking hard. Because goddamn, the progress they've made in a couple of weeks.
But yeah, back to the PS5 exclusive stuff. I mean, let's not forget all of Santa Monica stuff. So Ragnarok is going to be on it. I don't think the first
Ragnarok is only on it for another year before it drops to PC as well.
Sure, but that is, for now, it is there. Ghost of Tsushima was, but I believe it is now on PC.
It's on Steam now.
Gran Turismo has always been a Sony product, and it is the premier racing sim. It's true, it is a racing sim. So I mean, all the Horizon stuff. Actually, I think Horizon 1 is on PC now.
They're both on Steam now.
All right, so they're both on Steam, but they're not on Xbox and they're not on Switch. So this is important for me to point out. Helldivers launched multi-platform. Spider-Man, at least 2 at the moment.
Just 2 at the moment, yep.
Okay.
We'll probably not see that on Steam for another 2 years because they still have to do the DLC for it.
Right, of course. 16 is now on the everything.
16,
yeah. No, that's
16
what I'm
is
saying.
coming out on everything.
I think Ratchet and Clank it's kind of a PlayStation 5 showcase. Is that on anything else?
I'm not sure on that one. I stopped following Ratchet and Clank after Deadlock, I think. So
yeah. I'm pretty sure that game is just like built for the PS5. I'm sure they could port it over if they absolutely want to. The point of all this is PlayStation has its own stuff, and even if it goes to PC has never been seen as the competitor. It's always been the Xbox. I guess once upon a time.
I'm not saying competitors. I'm saying, why would I pick up a PlayStation instead of just getting a PC?
So you might
That's
not.
That's the thing.
You might not, because you, like me and Nat, have sense and understand that a console is nothing but a PC that plays exclusive games. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are just We've had this conversation in reverse, where I'm the one complaining, just make a PC. You know this answer. You've told it to me before. There are plenty of people who are too hard-headed to ever leave their console lifestyle behind. It's the only reason why consoles made it after the PS3 era, I am convinced. If more
I mean,
people just
yes,
bought a
I know.
more people just bought a PC, then both Sony and Microsoft would just be publishers.
It's well, I know. I don't know why I'm like going from that point or making that point or arguing that point or whatever. It's my nephew came to me the other day. He's like, because he's been trying to get his wife into gaming, with him some, and having a little bit of success. And he's like, but we only have the one PS5, so like my PS5, so we need to play multiplayer games that we can play together on the same system. He's like, I'm thinking like maybe I should get her own five, and we play together. And I'm like, no, you want to build a PC for yourself, right? Just build your PC and you play on your PC while she plays from your five.
Yeah, crossplay. Play
It's like,
crossplay games. It's fine.
yeah, it's like, why you don't need to buy a whole other console. There's no reason for it.
That's
You are wasting
you
your
should
money.
not buy two of any singular console that exists in your home. That is never the move.
It's
unless it's Nintendo products like the Nintendo DS. Yep.
I understand.
Maybe, yeah, actually.
I understand like the thought process because you want to play a game with your significant other, but they don't really do split screen in games anymore. Usually, you need to be at two separate things.
This is true.
True. Split screen in games is just so uncommon now. I feel like. So I get that if you have a significant other that games or that wants to game with you, you kind of need a second something to play from. And if you're one of those console hardheads that refuses to get a PC, that means you're going to buy a second console, which is just dumb. But I mean, maybe try and find games that are cross-platform and get the other console, I guess, even though I don't want to endorse Microsoft. Get the other console and play from an Xbox or something. I don't know. But when I was talking to my nephew, I'm like, just get your PC, man. It'll you don't have to worry about moving another TV into y'all's room where y'all game. You just set up your desk and your PC like you were planning to do in there already. And if you're impatient and you don't want to build the PC right now, or save up all that money and you want something that's a little bit more feasible, then get a Steam Deck, because then you can start buying games for when you eventually get your PC.
Sure.
And you can play from your Steam Deck while she's playing on the PlayStation. And if you really want the second TV, I think they make a dock for the Steam Deck, and you can dock it, and it'll come up.
Yeah, the Steam Deck is just a better version of the Switch. Anything the Switch has, the Steam Deck has. Anything the Steam Deck has, the Switch has in concept, but maybe not execution.
So I was just like, there's no reason to get a 5. There's no reason to get a base 5. I'm having a hard time trying to see why he thought this was any kind of improvement.
I mean, so we know internally, Nat, you said this earlier, you seem to have known this. The idea behind the PS5 was the 4K 120 8K 60. Or maybe I was speaking with Aqua when this came up. That was the ambition, but they absolutely couldn't make that. Even with the PSSR, the what the fuck is it called? PlayStation Spectral something resolution. Even with that, all they could do is 4K 60. Apparently, though, I think they can do 8K now. It's gonna be 30, but I don't know.
Yeah, 8K at like 6 FPS. Yeah,
that would genuinely. That feels like a pretty safe assumption. It's like you're in double digits at the very most. It's just like, frankly, it's just not made for people like us. This is made for content creators that have excess money and and have a reason for playing games at a higher rate, at a higher resolution, at a higher frame rate. Like for Joe Schmo on the street, this isn't for them, but I can't see that being a business proposition for Sony, because that you're never going to make enough money back. And furthermore, you're putting things on shelves that are already going to depreciate. And now, even when they depreciate, people still don't see them as being worthwhile. Furthermore, all the while hiking up your previous console's price. This just feels like a recipe for failure. And Sony, this has been a bad month for Sony.
Maybe they want to fail.
I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't think so. Because the tech's really smart. I really like the tech in this. Well, the additions anyway. I just I don't know.
Well, we sort of have some numbers on how much this console shit, I just had it but I lost it. Pretty much okay, so on YouTube the PS5 Pro presentation, right?
Sure.
So we know that YouTube has dislikes like turned off and all that shit, right? Like
you can get around it, but yeah,
unless you have an add-on, right?
Yeah.
So this is a little skewed because the dislikes that you can see are from people who also have the add-on. So it might be more, but pretty much we have 97,000 people liking this video and essentially 100,000 more people disliking this. So nearly up to like 200,000 people do not like this idea. And again, that's just like a rough estimate and like a little percentage of just how big and how people just do not like the way it was presented and just Sony
this isn't even to talk about the
presenting itself to
presentation.
like buy it and all that shit. Yeah.
The presentation of this was absolutely dog shit. It was very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were going on about like, oh, Ratchet and Clank, you can see the crowd clearer. And I'm just like, who fucking cares? My favorite game literally has a scene, two people talking to each other, one of the characters look at everyone cheering, and it's a fucking empty crowd.
My guy, one of my favorite games is Metal Gear Solid. They're not even people. They're the most misshapen.
It's just 2D sprites.
Yeah, like they're the most misshaping polygons. So yeah, I don't know. Sony has some really weird mindsets, and yeah, the side by side stuff was really fucking embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh, we could see the sign clearer when we're 800 feet away from a guard tower. The sign says balls or some shit. It's like, okay, who fucking cares?
You mean you're not wrong? They were like, what did they show off? So
they showed off one of the towers in fucking
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
But it was
Ratchet and Clank crowds.
with what they were showing off was like performance mode versus fidelity and versus itself. Admittedly, fidelity versus fidelity in some games. Stumps will say I'm wrong, right? But this is all going to depend on your TV and monitor anyway. I didn't see much of a detail. Like, even when they showed me the obvious change, I'm like, I'm never going to notice that in gameplay. I'm only noticing this now
exactly.
because it's still
some
fresh.
of those things you would never notice unless it's side by side.
Very, very true.
Like, how would you?
It's so fucking weird. Just like it just feels like out of touch because like when you're playing a game, I know that's like a hard concept to wrap your head around when you're playing a Sony game because they're usually movies. But when you're playing a game, you're focusing on two things: your position and the enemy's position. You're not going, oh, what does that say? What does that sign say on the tower over there?
Okay, actually,
well, hold on, Nat. Hold on. I don't know that I agree with
hold on. I don't agree with that because I 100% look at the shit in the
background. I wonder.
Oh, yo, what's that over there? That's cool. I wonder very hard.
Admittedly, I think your point has validity. I think just because me and Matt and some other people do want to go and get the secrets of the backgrounds, we've been able to do that for the past forever.
I've been able to do that since like beginning of PS3.
Right. And anything that's so far away that it's blurred out, clearly we're not meant to be looking that hard at anyway.
And then we have to go up to it to see what it is.
Exactly.
And we go, okay, something's here, or we just go, it's just fucking an object on top of another object.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing. And then you just like
No,
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
don't know.
Like I don't like the idea, and we've said it before. I don't like the idea of graphics chasing anymore.
Yeah, I hate it as
I'll be
well.
honest, I didn't need this graphical update from the PS4. I know a lot of people did deep down, like they really wanted us to get to where we are now. I didn't care for that. I'm still playing games from the PS2, super happy. I'm just happy we're not playing
Yeah.
PS1 games.
Yeah.
Cool. That's fine. PS1 was admittedly real rough looking back at it. We didn't know better
Hold
then.
on.
We know better now.
We are playing PS1 games. They've just been updated with better graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, because that was technically a PlayStation 1 game. Yeah.
I mean, I meant more literally because we have HD quote unquote remakes of things like Final Fantasy VIII and
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like Gex or
Like
some
we're
shit
legitimately
Yeah.
playing the same game, just with better models.
just
Yeah.
fucking creatively bankrupt fucking
But
companies and publishers.
yeah, like I'm content to play a PS2 game. If you keep chasing all the photoreal games, I'm just gonna be less and less interested in that.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, out of the games I've seen recently coming out, like the games I'm most interested in are like is an anime or several anime games. So I'm like, those look the most fun to me. And most of these photorealism games that have been announced, I'm just kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna go do all these
like,
cool ninja flips over here in bright colors. That is nowhere near photoreal, but it looks cool as crap. Okay, bye.
I mean, like, yeah, let's just take what Matt is pretty much implying. MiHoYo games.
No, I'm
That-
talking about Atelier Yumiya. That game looks
God.
incredible gameplay
I
wise.
hate
looks-
how interested I am in that game. It looks so good.
It does, dude. I saw the gameplay last night, I think, and I'm like, nah, what is this? This is so cool.
Honestly, I thought Atelier games were supposed to be boring little fucking potion makers. What is this?
It was so cool.
But there is another aspect to this. I go on about graphics because it's what everyone thinks of when we think of like upgrades to a system. There are other things that are more justifiable. Everyone likes an open world except for me. I'm fucking boring like that.
I'm getting there with you, man.
I'm
So
telling
many
you,
also
I am.
getting that
I'm
as well.
so fucking burnt out about open worlds. But it does take a lot of tech to make those happen, and I think a lot of the tech that we're seeing now is what's allowing them to populate these worlds efficiently. So,
Valid.
we're talking about like foliage, so that you're not just on a bunch of dirt with occasional grass sprigs. Like the density of said foliage and having it look nice. The difference between
and swaying and
honestly, fuck the swaying. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about all that. But yes, this is all stuff that does go towards this. So it is more than just like make character look like
graphics.
yeah, could reach out and touch you.
Yeah.
But a lot of this goes away if you downscale what you're working with. A lot of all of the issues of modern day gaming go away. You get to have a series that come out more often. You get to have just more games in general. You get to do, and because more games are coming out and the system is hot, you get to take more chances on games that may not succeed. Concord now, instead of being fucking a real doomer on this year for Sony, could have been just seen as like it failed. That sucks. It's a good thing we have like 12 other games coming out. This happened during a year where Sony's first parties were like, yeah, we have nothing coming out. Like this is the only first party game of note because they bought the studio.
Oh, that's so fucking sad.
It's not, right? Because Astrobot came out and that's very first party.
Yeah, Astrobot, but like yeah.
The whole thing is like this is the light year. So to have a failure this year in particular stings. And if every game didn't need to take 8 to 12 years to come out because it need to be like 150 gigs worth of information on screen compressed, this wouldn't be an issue.
And that's not to say a photorealism game here and there isn't a bad thing.
That's how Square made their mark on the industry, frankly.
Yeah, but it's just like if every game shoots for it, it loses interest. It's just,
and like that's a great example. I love God of War. I like that it's gone in this direction. If you'd asked me this like 12 years ago before the first one, whenever, I'd have been like, yeah, God of War is not built for photorealism, the amount of gore. No, it's great. It's wonderful. It's gone in such a great way, and it lets the acting really come forward. Last of Us,
Spider-Man, incredible. I love that one. And that's not even completely photoreal,
I was
but
about to
it's up
say,
there.
I don't think that game needs to be photoreal. The advancements in open world is what really makes that game work. Because the fact that there are like no loading screens swinging around all of New York is insane to me.
It's so good. I love those games so much.
Like that is spectacular. But every game doesn't need to be this. Like for every winner you have in this category, you have losers. Forspoken, I'm looking so directly at you. It hurts.
Forspoken, holy shit. More like for slopping. This is a fucking slop of a game.
Yeah, I think games are just like, and consoles are always going to be a response to what the developers want to do. I understand this, but $700 and all of this tech that is not affordable by most people. Just I feel like we need to have smaller stuff. We need to start restricting. We need to start restricting the devs. I love them to death. They need to be able to work hard. They need to be able to work with more restrictions and just go back to being creative that way. And by having that happen, it allows more people to be involved in the community. Because if $700 is the new norm for consoles are dead.
No, fuck that.
And I know that sounds weird when everyone says PCs are like $1,000. PCs do not need to be $1,000.
No. It's justifiable for PCs because PC does everything else it fucking does,
Yeah.
unlike the fucking consoles. Consoles either play video games or YouTube, Netflix, and all that shit.
There is nothing
PC
a console
so
can
much
do
more.
that a PC can't do. The only advantage to consoles is there are first-party titles that you cannot get outside of them. Well,
Yes, exactly.
morally can't get outside of them.
Anything Xbox releases come out on PC, so that's not technically true for Xbox anymore.
Well, that's because Xbox is Microsoft, and Microsoft owns like the most dominant part of PCs with Windows. So they're set. They're good.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, you don't need an Xbox. Like the Xbox is a pointless system.
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah,
So,
no,
apparently, so does Microsoft.
It's true. It's true. It's I mean, and even if you did spend the $1,000 or whatever on your PC or whatever, that's almost 10 years worth of gaming out of it, minimal, compared to the consoles. Like we said in the last time we were talking about mid-gens, that is upgrading now at like 5 to 6 years, like instead of long periods of time.
Yeah, unless you build your computer right before a major leap forward, you're going to get a good amount of time out of it. But admittedly, I think you will get the same amount of time that you get out of a console before you need an upgrade to be in the same place of comfort that you were. If you're fine with falling behind just a little bit graphically, yeah, these things can last a decade easy.
I mean, and possibly more if you just change a piece out here or there.
Here and there. So, and like, it's like just every so often you upgrade a singular piece that doesn't require you to redo everything. And again, this is why I said the most dangerous time is right before a major jump. Because if you do it right before a major jump and you have to upgrade your CPU, well, now you have to upgrade your motherboard, and that probably means new RAM. And but if you do it after that jump, you're going to get about 10 years. And furthermore, again, if things do slow down on the development side and we stop expanding at the rate we're going at, it just makes our pieces last that much longer.
Yeah,
it we stay relevant. Yeah, we stay relevant longer. So, I mean, I genuinely think
longer.
Yeah, I genuinely think the GTX, the GTX 1080 is still a card you can use at a respectable rate. And I do not remember when that card came out. We're into the RTX 50 series now. GTX 1080. When did this card
50? I thought we were still on 4.
We are still on the 40s, but the 50s are literally right around the corner.
Right, yeah, gotcha.
The 1080 came out.
Damn, that's fucked.
Yeah, I know, right? 1080 came out on. Oh, was it really 2016? I thought it was so much longer ago than that.
8 years.
I guess a lot of people were working on. Oh god, I don't remember the old stuff, but like just all us. I mean, old computer games like 90s, right? They didn't require graphics cards, so it was just.
I was about to say a lot of that could work integrated.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
You know, there is a good thing to come from this PS5 announcement with this ridiculous price tag.
Go on then.
The Sony hate.
The memes have been incredible.
Oh yeah,
they've been delicious.
Yeah, fucking yeah. Speaking of delicious, would you rather have a PS5 Pro or 700 fucking Arizona iced tea?
I really fancy the lemon. I could get behind that.
Fucking hell.
God, if I drink 2 a day, that's still like a year.
I think that might be my favorite one I've seen of that particular meme. The PS5 Pro or 4 Wii U's was pretty good too.
Oh, the amount of one PS5 Pro or 4 semi-lewd Tifa 2Bs or insert waifu here. It's like, you will have no chill. Yes. Relax.
I love it. It's so.
But no, I'm with Nat. My favorite one has absolutely been the Arizona iced tea one. I love that one.
Yeah,
that's been my favorite. It's so good. I've been loving all of them though. I haven't seen one I haven't liked. Also, I saw somebody take a picture of they had their PS5, took some black tape, put 2 more stripes on it, and said, "Guys, get a PS5 Pro before it came out."
Oh, easy.
Oh yeah. Also, by the way, dude. The PS5 Pro ugliest sin, but a lot of that comes down to the PS5 ugliest sin. God, I still think the PS2 is my favorite. Maybe the PSX, the PS1 specifically. I really did like that. Matter of fact, I think I argued that if they had made a PS4 with like the old retro gray, I would have picked it up. I would have paid the extra $100 to pick it up.
Yes.
I know they did the retro during the PS4. There was a big anniversary for PlayStation. They did the PS anniversary like theme and everything you could do, which was really cool. I thought they did like a skin for the PS4.
They could have, and I could have just missed it. As much as I want this, I don't actively look for it because of how expensive they are. But yeah, no, like PS5 fucking so ugly, and they've decided to add 2. I'm not sure what those are for, actually, come to think of it. They could be vents, it could help with cooling, which admittedly, my PS5 hasn't had trouble with cooling. Also, admittedly, haven't played that much on it, so it hasn't needed to. Though, again, admittedly, every time I have played on it, I've put hours. Like, I've put hours. I put work into each of my times. So, I don't know. It's rough.
They did.
Finally, the paperweight can play video games.
Man,
because you said you don't use it that often.
So I don't like. I used it for
the paperweight.
So what did I use it for?
16.
I used it for 16. I used it for both 7s. I used it to replay through Ghost of Tsushima. I have done more. I played through Control on it, which was admittedly a very good time.
So, I don't want to sound like ungrateful because my PS5 was a gift that I got.
Yes, I remember.
But I chose that as what I wanted as that gift, right? Mm-hmm. And I am very thankful for it. I'm very happy to get it. But in retrospect, looking back, I think it has been a year. A year later, I didn't need to get it because I got it because Final Fantasy 16 was coming out and I really wanted to play it and I really wanted to avoid being spoiled.
Yes.
God, same, bro.
And looking back, 16, while a very fun game, and I did very much enjoy it, and the story was very good, I basically spent $500 plus the price of the game for 16 alone because I've picked nothing else up on it, and I have no intention of really picking anything else up on it. I'm like, why would I when I can't get it on my PC? And I'm like, I should have just waited and got it on my PC and gotten a Steam Deck a year ago when was what I should have done. Like, just there was no reason for me to do it. And I don't want to sound ungrateful or unthankful, because I am. I really am thankful, and I really do appreciate having it. I'm glad I have it for that, chance that they eventually release something that actually, stays just on PlayStation that I really want to play. Heck, maybe when I finally just bite the bullet and really want to play Demon Souls, I'll just finally, be able to pick it up. But
I recommend the God of Wars.
It's not your fault.
Well, no.
It's not the gifter's fault.
To be fair,
it is Sony's fault for not releasing actual fucking games.
Well, actually, in Matt's position, it's very specifically Square's fault for having that awful exclusivity that it had for the last decade.
Yeah. I mean, that sucked. That I should have just released that all around at once, and I could have avoided that entire problem.
But yeah, I mean,
I could have picked it up when it comes out on PC,
right,
with all the DLC.
To your point, Nat, yeah, we joke about Microsoft not having any first-party games, and they don't. To be upfront about all of this, because we're coming down very hard.
Fucking Halo.
Yeah, we're coming down very hard on Sony, but I'm gonna give Microsoft its lashes. Microsoft does not get to get a sympathy bonus from this conversation. It's still shit. The PS5 also just doesn't have enough. Like,
it doesn't.
I got it. I've gotten a bunch of time with it. My PC is still my workhorse though. Like, again, the back catalog to Sony just isn't strong enough right now. And as we keep going forward with every generation, we get less and less games. And a lot of people are okay with this, and I'm not sure I'm one of them anymore. Going from PS2 to PS3, I'm like, yeah, I understand. For this bonus, we're going to get less overall, but it's still going to be good. And then we saw less with the PS4, and now we're seeing so much less with the PS5.
I think it's because while we're dropping in quantity, we're not getting the increase in quality of games.
Oh, we absolutely are. That was my problem earlier. Is that, like, the quality, well, maybe not in terms of enjoyability, that I'll give you.
Well, Astrobot is the rare, very fucking rare exception, as in it's a good game, but I'm talking about, like, just...
I don't know, I thought 16 was beautiful. I just don't, while I have issues with it as an RPG, I think it's a great game. I think it looks great, I think it plays great. Right. It's a good time. I've enjoyed every God of War. I think those are brilliant.
I mean, like I said before, I love the Spider-Man games, and Spider-Man, the games Dalet's listed as well. I just, I wait a year longer to get them, and I can get them on my PC. It's this kind of thing, and I'm already, I'm like 10 years behind on gaming as is, because of, as you guys know, the things I went through like 10 years back. So it's like I'm in perpetual catch-up mode anyway, so what's another year for me, really? But that one's kind of unique to me, I guess. But no, there are good games on Sony, and they have them. They're just fewer and fewer. They
just don't stay on PlayStation. That's it.
Well, again, I don't have an issue with this, because as has been said, people will stay on the system. That's fine. My issue specifically is just the time in between games being too fucking long. And people could say, well, you can't want the developers to just crunch for years and years only to immediately go back to it. That's going to happen regardless. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I just want the games to be less big. I don't need a game to be 10 years worth of dev. I don't need a game to be 8 years worth of dev. The fact that the games are as big as they are now is cool, but unnecessary. I would love to go back to a form factor where I can pay like $40 to Sony and them not feel cheated, and get my 40 to 60 hours of game in. I think Astrobot is a great demonstration of that, as a matter of fact. Wukong is a great demonstration of that. I spent 45 hours and I beat the game. Now, granted, I can do that 3 more times in terms of like getting everything, but in terms of the full story, got the ending, got the secret ending, not the secret ending, but the true quote unquote ending in 45 hours.
Right.
And I thought that was fucking brilliant.
I mean, I'm fine with long games. It's just if every game's a long game, that's kind of that drags on you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and like from a personal standpoint, yeah, no, that shit is grating. But in general, a longer game means a bigger development team or a reasonable development team with a longer amount of time working on it. All of this leads to a higher amount of money that went into this game, which means it's more expensive to make, which gives the company a reason to try to nickel and dime us by throwing in microtransactions or throwing in useless DLC or just charging us more for the game itself. It's how we got to $70. People can say that we got to $70 because games hadn't gone up in like 20 years. They need to... No, we got to $70 because they're so fucking expensive to make now.
Yeah.
That selling millions of them isn't lucrative like it used to be.
I can't wait till you Americans fucking hit $80. Holy shit.
I don't think we can. I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably wrong because I didn't think we could get to 70. I genuinely think that the idea of paying near $100 for a game is insanity. Sorry, $100 US.
Welcome. Yeah. Well, now obviously I don't have proof, but if the PS5 Pro is successful in their sales, you can bet your fucking ass that games are gonna bump up to $80.
I don't think so. The bump to 70 is still pretty recent. And I think, if anything, the 700 on the PS5 is the bump. Is that new, let's try to get some more money. Instead of charging $500.
You won't see the $80 bump at least until the PlayStation 7, if they ever try to do it.
No, I think they'll try to do it for the 6. I genuinely do. I don't know if it'll be well received, but I don't know what game would have to be the one to do it, though. Is it a Call of Duty that tries to do that because it can break through? Is it a FIFA that does it because it can break through? It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be a first-party title for Sony. I would have said maybe Halo, but Halo hasn't been Halo for a lot of people in a long time, so probably not. I think it would take one of like those top grossers, be it a Call of Duty or one of the sports games, to do that. And I think they will attempt to do that in the PS6 era. All of this is really sad for me because I didn't want us to get this far.
I didn't want us to get this far either. But I can say that as far as buying a console goes, I think the 5 will probably be the last time I buy a console that's not Nintendo, because screw you, Nintendo.
Yeah, I think I'm also out. Like, it's going to kill me getting spoiled on stuff because of the nature of what we do online.
The internet.
Like, it's going to suck getting spoiled on, like, the Santa Monica stuff, the Gorilla stuff. Actually, I don't care about the Gorilla stuff. I don't give a shit about Horizon. About any first party stuff. It's going to suck. It's going to suck. But
yeah,
I can't justify having a nice PC that I use for work and then for recreation, and also having a lesser PC that I use for recreation. Like, I can already do that here.
Yeah. I just as someone who's already crossed that line, I've also been. I'm also out. I was with Matt in wanting a PS5 back when not the first whispers of 16, but like when 16 got closer.
Right.
But as soon as I saw the changes in Square Enix with their exclusive deals, how they're saying, fuck it, we're just gonna release everywhere, not just on PC, not PC, PS for a year, then it's going to be on everything else. When I saw that, I was like, yep, there's no point in getting a console no more. There's just no point, for me, at least. Because I'm assuming Kingdom Hearts 4 and possibly Final Fantasy 17 just to be out on everything from day one.
I don't know anymore, because so many of these games end up as exclusives with the excuse of, well, Sony threw money at us, not to buy it, but to help us with the development. So, like, if that ever happens, then no one can really say shit about the exclusivity, because they'll have the fallback of, yeah, this game wasn't going to be made without the input of Sony or Nintendo or Microsoft. But outside of that, if I can just have it, even if it's just a couple of weeks late, I'm just going to get it on PC.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
Look, Pico Park came out on PC, 5 days after Nintendo got it a couple days early. That's fine.
Sure, what?
I have no idea what game this is.
Y'all haven't seen Pico Park? This Pico Park 2 came out.
No.
So, Pico Park, little, I guess it's considered an indie game. I'm pretty sure it's considered an indie game. $5 indie game, very popular. It's like 8 players. It's really amusing, like puzzle solving with a group of players.
Right.
Pico Park 2 was announced on that last Nintendo Direct. Came out on the Nintendo Switch that day, and then it came out everywhere else 3 days ago.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
It was like a week and a half of exclusivity to Nintendo, and it's also like the Pico Park 1's like $5. I think Pico Park 2 being new is like $10. Really fun, just little puzzle solving game with friends. I really want to play it, but it needs a few people to do, and I'm just like, I don't know that I can get that many people.
Right.
But it's not like it's an expensive thing. It's you could get like, probably like 4 hours of playing for like $5. So it's like, pretty good deal.
I mean, that sounds 10 times better than whatever the fuck Sony is trying to sell us. So,
But I mean, y'all talking about exclusivity, and I was like, hey, yeah, Pico Park did it. Comes out one place exclusive, but for only like a week, and comes out everywhere else. I'm okay with that kind of exclusivity. Fine, you get it a week early, no big deal. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I can't complain about that. But yeah. So suffice it to say, we're not all that thrilled with Sony and the PS5 Pro, like pretty much the rest of the internet.
Yeah, no, this shit fucking sucks.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
But you can let us know your thoughts on the PS5 Pro in the comments down below on YouTube and Spotify, or you can tweet them at us over on Twitter at Celestia Radio PD. You can also use the hashtag AskCRP if you want to give us suggestions for topics, or just, share some of your other thoughts and what haves it. But yeah, and that's been us. That's been us, complaining like the rest of the internet about this, and, just being us, chilling, hanging, talking video games. And until next time, we will see you then. Share it with your friends if you enjoyed. As always, we will appreciate it. I'm going to bed. Bye, y'all.
Goodbye.
Be good now.